Okay, so I'm right by this picnic hut, if you want to call it that. Back in me old haunting ground, opposite the metals factory. This is my gear. Just spent about an hour talking to a guy called Larry that lives around here. But yeah, just telling me the canalized section is good in spring. I think the carp maybe congregate there to spawn. So that's worth a shout. And yeah, got barked at for about 20 minutes by some kind of spaniel in the big dog exercise location, which was a bit much. There you go. I asked the dog if it had a bad cough. It didn't respond other than continued coughing, barking. So yeah, there's a 6 gram ray, and I've got a feeder set up at the moment. I'll probably set up another, maybe a round body float. I've just put in 8 orange sized balls of this mixture, which is part fish meal, part cereal ground bait with some added breadcrumb. Usual suspects: corn, hemp, a little bit of chopped worm, some dead maggots. Yeah, it's about 7 foot deep, I don't know, something like that. And yeah, just pondering what to do first, whether to go out on the feeder or just go straight onto the ground bait. I might try going straight onto the ground bait just to see if there's an instant reaction. Oh, here I am. Nothing to say yet. So yeah, I haven't smashed anything or fallen in yet. So the portends, I'm not sure. The last time I went, I forecast portends as good, whereas it turned out to be crap. So hopefully I'll have a different kind of day today. Alright. Yeah, park ranger made an appearance. I told him it was one of the cleanest parks I've been to. He seemed pleased by that. Anyway, I will see what I can catch. Well, thank you very much. Yes, encouraging. Straight away, I'm into what I think is a little bass. Oh, it's a little catfish. And there we are. Avoided the blank. Nice. Double corn at your service. Okay, that's the biggest smallmouth bass I've caught. Nice fish. I thought it was a massive perch hooked in the scissors.
I got a perch couch under my buttocks, a perch couch under my buttocks. I've got a perch couch under my buttocks, a perch couch under my buttocks.
think that was the fish that our man Larry was trying to catch on his top lure. The guy that I was speaking to earlier. Oh, an Ozzy Osbourne fan, no less. Asked me if I'd met any of the rock stars. I have to say no. I bloomin' well haven't. Decided to chuck the feeder out. And second chuck, got something on. No indication, I just picked the rod up and it was on. I lost the fish on the pole. But yeah, it just broke 9-pound line like it was a human hair. But I'll go back onto that, I think. I've had a nice bass. Well, I had 3 or 4 bass, a catfish, and a guy very reminiscent of George Dawes telling me about his shattered shoulder and various other interesting points. Yeah, I think this is a catfish. Yeah, it ain't very big here now. Yeah, it's gotta be. Here we come, fishing down the street. The funniest laughs from every carp we meet. What have we got here, sir? Oh, it's a small carpo. Hello, carpo. There you go, blokey. I tell you what, there's some serious. Started to fight now. It's bloody shit. I don't know if something's out of right. I'll look at that. It's front lip. God. Okay. Somebody's torn that fish's front lips off. Gotta be like a bloody great butcher's hook. Look at that. Where is it? There you go, mate. Who did that to you? Poor thing. Caught another fish a few weeks ago, but had a very similar complaint. At the front of its top lip had just been torn in half. Okay, just had a vigorous knock on the tip that persisted. Picked up. I've had about 10 casts on the feeder line, and this is the second decent fish. I mean, part of the idea about filming this is to just see if these ostensibly European type methods work over here, which there's no reason why they wouldn't, and they seem to be doing nicely. Some of these US rivers, they're big, they're very reminiscent of the Var or the Danube or the Rhine or something. They've got, you know, they're big rivers. Catfish. There she blows. Okay, bottom lip. Like heads, like anvils, these things. They're really tricky to unhook. There you go. Alright, give it another pop out there. Yeah, so just as an experiment, I started off fishing over here with lures, rubber worms, and ironically the very thing that's getting popular in the UK and in Europe, like urban type lure fishing from kayaks, that kind of thing. There's a lot of that goes on here. But for me, you know, aside from reliving my childhood, which was great, and I really enjoy that, it's just an idea about wanting to fish this way, and seeing how it would work in an American context. And it seems to be doing nicely. You know, generally I'll go out and catch. It's not frenetic, but you'll get little runs of fish, and then you'll have to kind of switch and change, and it's interesting fishing. Yeah, most enjoyable. And I've caught species that, you know, I've never seen in the flesh, as it were. Like, catfish, various kinds of saugai, which is like a zander, bluegill, which I believe is a sun perch in European parlance. Buffalo minnow, sucker minnow, all these kind of interesting, crazy fish that, you know, are new to me. It's fantastic to catch them, and they seem to kind of love the old double, triple, single sweet corn, which is great. Hook something decent. I thought it might catch fire out on the feeder line, but that sort of went quiet after I had a look on the meat. That wasn't productive, and then put the trusty corn back on. This was the result. There you go. There he is, Mr. Common. Let's just try and take a section off and use that puller bar. I think we can just about get away with it. Depth-wise, should work. Come on. There you go. Nice fish. Beautiful colour. Chunkier, more like a Buckeye Lake specimen. Or should I say, a still water carp. Usually a lot leaner than this. Okay, mate. Alrighty. Yeah. See if we can snag another. size 12. Like 12-inch hook length, a couple of number 8s, and then another 10 or so inches, and then the bulk up to a 6-gram Creluso ray. Put another couple of kernels on, if that's what they're called. Edging this through. Okay, I've got a little sucker on. Oh, easy tiger, easy boy. There we are. Just to really knock him off. Always nice to catch these. Just inside the mouth. That single corn. There you go. Yeah, I've been speaking to a few chaps that frequent the park. Yeah, one of them's talking about catching a muskie, a muskellunge, like a pike type of thing, and that it would probably break me pole no trouble. I did point out that it had elastic in, but maybe muskellunge have elastic attack prowess. Probably. Chuffing great teeth. Yeah, I feel like I've more or less fluked every fish I've caught so far. Yeah, just through. This is only my 3rd cast with the feeder. One of them got wrapped around the quite sizable bail arm on the Daiwa ends on distance reel and just thrashed the water about 5 foot out, which probably didn't do my pole line any good. And yeah, caught a few bass, catfish, and one carp that had its like front lip there, like it was had 2 cockles on either side of its mouth, similar colour to the the nose proboscis element of that mollusk. I just see a boat being launched, maybe 300 yards downriver, where there's a launch. It's one of those pontoon vessels. So yeah, I might try some meat, see if that makes a difference. But yeah, all fish on corn so far. Tried a bunch of maggots, nothing, and then as soon as I put the piece of corn on, that's when I hooked what was a decent fish and just tore off and broke the line. So yeah, I always have a sort of potted excuse, a condensed excuse as to why I'm in the United States, which is that my grandfather was a US GI in the Second World War, was stationed near Plymouth on the south coast of England, and met an English woman, my nan, Joan. Grandfather's name is William, Bill, and brought her back to the United States with promises of huge acreage of longhorn cattle farms, and was it the promise of a wraparound porch or even a front porch, which you don't really find very much in Britain. It's usually a back deck, if that. Yeah, and my mother was born in Logan, Ohio. So I'm currently fishing in Zanesville, and yeah, been here for probably about 18 years now. Work at the public library, operate an outreach program, taking materials to those that can't, for whatever reason, get into the library, whether it's age or infirmity. Also take items to preschools and schools, after school programs in Fairfield County. So that keeps me busy. It's enjoyable work. And I took a day off today to come here and fish. And yeah, it's a lovely upstream breeze, beautiful weather. And yeah, just settle down and try and get into a little fishing rhythm here. And yeah, I'll report back if anything happens of note. Other fish on, looks like further down the swim. Oh, it's one of those, what is it? That's far looked, whatever it is. Yeah, it's one of those little fish with the oriental, should I say, ornamental tails. Gone out on the feeder. Had a knock, fish on. Trying to keep him out of those. There's some reeds down there. Already lost. Here we are. Yeah, a sucker. Just down to my left. No. There we are. I encountered some lengthy talkers earlier this morning.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Older.
One guy was nice as pie, a lot older, and you know, we were talking quite a bit. And then the other guy was, oh, hello, fish on, hang on.
Okay.
Yeah, and the other guy, I think he'd been like, he'd hurt his shoulder, so he was recovering from that. And yeah, I'll tell you about it later.
All right, I'm going to say hi to Adam.
All right.
All right, I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, love you.
Love you.
Love you, River. Love you, Jenny. Love you, Adam. Love you, the Nuggies.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Something else on here. Feeder line. Again, got to be careful of those rushes. It might look inoffensive, but you get a fish going in there, it's a pain. Right, this fish, a piece of its gill missing. I don't know what happened there. Nasty old bit of business. Poor sod. Alright, mate, alright. Jesus. Naughty old bit of damage. Looks pretty recent. Yeah, little one. Look at that. Yeah, I don't know. Seems to be fit though. Another quality fish on that feeder line. Ooh, yeah, it's got some power. Yeah, nice fish. Feeder. Yes. That's a nice fish. That's the best fish of the day. Easy. My hook's a bit buggered. Whoa! Nice. Right, mate. Back you go. Finally. Just like edging it through. Waiting 10 seconds, moving the pole about an inch. And repeating the process. Finally managed to attempt a bite. Hello. Yeah, it's a big old unit. Yeah, it's 17 and a half. Whew. It's a big unit. A big, beautiful unit. Alright, pal, away you go. The needle was halfway between 15 and 20, so I guess it's 17 and a half. Wow. Thank you, sir. Yeah, it was funny earlier on. I'm not far from the big dog exercise compound, and as I mentioned earlier, for about 20 minutes I was constantly barked at by, I don't know, one was a what do you call it, American Pit, I think. And the other two, I'm sure one of them had a bit of beagle or spaniel in it. And the owner kind of looked over at me a few times as if to say, "What do you think you're doing being barked at by my dogs?" Which I thought was amusing. Oh, a little knock on the tip there. Yeah, I did a bit of kind of improvisational moonwalking in my waders to see if that would have any effect in calming the canine, but to no avail. And I thought, oh no, what if the geezer is packing, or he's going to go home and get a shooter, and I've overplayed the situation. But yeah, so far so good. Yeah, nice little upstream wind now. I'm continuing to drizzle some hemp and corn and the occasional little nugget on that inside line, hoping to come on it. I've tried a 3-gram bodied, or brown bodied float. Had a few bites just using single corn. Got some meat I might try, and also some pellet that I might introduce, see if that makes a difference. But yeah, for the moment, just having a tea and watching the tip. It's less intensive, of course, than fishing pods. So. Good method for eating a sandwich by.
Alright, 4B here. I must tell you about an incident that occurred bankside on this trip. Some local nature enthusiast was out for a stroll and caught sight of Matthew in his white UV-resistant hooded shirt. Thought she'd seen a visitation of Mother Teresa. Well, it's in the manner in which he folds the hood at the front and tucks it behind his ears. At a distance, he's a dead ringer for Saint Teresa of Calcutta. Well, it's all in the details, I suppose. Well, this here passer-by approached Matthew while he was fishing and asked him for forgiveness, of all things. Matthew assumed this was an admission of crimes against carp, particularly rough handling and inhumane unhooking practices. So he just bellowed out a resounding, "No, not on your Nelly, me lover, get out of it. Till you can show me you cares about the fish, the animals, and every other bloody living organism that's just trying to get by." Well, her pleaded with him, stating that she'd never even touched a live fish before, but she'd be eternally grateful if Matthew could use some of his restorative powers in trying to revive her poorly hamster. "I don't do rodents, dear." 'Twas alien to him, see? At this, the woman reached into her pocket and pulled out a woolly sock, out of which poked a little furry face with a twitching nose. So Matthew acquiesced, got off his box, took the hamster in hand and said, "Leave him with me. Come back in 4 hours. That'll be long enough for me treatment to take effect." And her did as instructed, no questions. Her must be bloody desperate, Matthew thought to himself. Anyhow, he placed the hamster, who was clearly suffering from malnutrition, into his groundbait bucket and figured the little fellow would eat his fill, have a good sleep in the fresh air, and be fit to aimlessly sprint away the days on his hamster wheel till he was old and grey. Work like a bloody treat. You could say Matthew was channeling his inner Mother Teresa. Anyhow, tell you another bugger that's a dead ringer for Mother Teresa. The middle-aged Pablo Picasso. 'Tis uncanny. Anyhow, was Mother Teresa bold in middle age? I don't know. Anyway, I'll leave it with you. Swim strong.
This ain't no tiny either. It's a good fish. Easy. Easy, man, easy. I've had 12 of those. Been really good. Will pack up that 5 regardless. But yeah, these bigger fish seem to have moved in on the pole line. Yeah, you just can't never tell when they're going to have a chew. Sort of coincided with a bit of cloud cover, getting a few bites consistently. But yeah, I'll have to pack up soon. 10 to 5. Even another 10 minutes.